What is up, everybody? My name is Anthony, aka Tone114. I am the coach of the main Red Cartons, and I am bringing you my draft analysis for Season 1 of a brand new league I started up with a few friends of mine called the UBA or the United Battling Association. Just a general small league among me and 11 other people I got to know. Really nice people. And the draft ended a few hours ago, and I'm bringing you my recap of the mons I picked and the reasons why I picked them. So going into this draft, I wanted to switch up my style of battling. I've known to try to do a lot of mons that pair well together, but in the past I've drafted teams where I don't really have many switching to certain stuff, and that usually comes back to bite me. But this time I've decided to try the route of bulky offense, where I have powerful mons that are generally fast, but at the same time they're very good at what they do. So, um, so to begin my draft, I started off. It's only 12 people in this league, and I the draft had me at number 10. So obviously, to anyone who knows me, how much I love Manatee, I would have drafted Manatee, but Manatee was already gone. Megalopoly was gone, Megavenusaur was gone, so I really had to think outside the box and think about using bonds that I've used before, but not in general succession. So as you see on the screen, my very first pick, at number 10, I went with Garchomp. Now, I figured I wanted to start out with something strong, something versatile, something that's not limited to one set. It can do sword stance, it can be a defensive stealth rocker, it can be substitute sword stance, it can be choice scarf, it can be a mixed attacker, base 80 special attack, still usable for Draco Meteor and Fire Blast. And what Garchomp gives me is a basis to build my team around. Well, not really build my team around, but something strong to rely on, as it can be my go-to mon in terms of what if I need a stealth rocker, Garchomp's there. If I need a choice rock user, Garchomp is there. Offensive stealth rock, I can use Garchomp, and I can really mix around the team um, fairly well with the rest of my draft picks. So now onto my second pick. I figured that I wanted to complement Garchomp along the lines of I figured that if I'm going to try out this bulky offense style of battling, that I needed to pick something bulky, something powerful, and something that gave me a good amount of priority and good hard hitting power to complement Garchomp. So with that, I decided that with my second pick, I would go with Azumarill. Azumarill I have never used in a draft league format. I'm so accustomed to Manaphy that I never bothered to draft two water types that I felt though would clash with each other. But with Azumarill here, it allows me to really, it's not really experiment, but it gives me a way of dealing with. It gives me a hard hitter, insta huge power. It has a great defensive typing with Water Fairy, Waterfall, Knockoff, Play Rough, Priority with Aqua Jet. Um, can be a bulky assault vest user. Can be a belly drum set. Can run choice band. So I really feel as though Azumarill would complement well with Garchomp with a hard hitter to go along with a versatile mon like Garchomp that can really do anything for me in this style of bulky offense that I wanted to do. So moving on now to my third pick, I wanted to continue with a mon that is generally overlooked, but it's a very solid mon, especially for this bulky offense route I decided to go towards. So I decided look into tier two, try to find something that complements both Azumarill and Garchomp, and something that appreciates bulkier stuff worn down by Azumarill. And Azumarill does get hampered a bit by things like Mega Venusaur, which someone in my division actually drafted Mega Venusaur, so I had to face it twice, and Azumarill was like facing this Mega Venusaur. So I figured with my tier 2 pick, I decided to go along the route of Ranunculus. Now, Ranunculus is a very fantastic mon to pair up with Garchomp and Azumarill. It gives me that fallback option, as it's not just a hard-hitting special attacker, it can also take hits with that high base 110 HP. I can run Calm Mind, I can do Offensive Trick Room, I can do Assault Vest with Regenerator, I can potentially run Overcoat for like Spore Mons like Breloom, be like a full on counter to stuff like Breloom. But essentially it gives me Nucleus gives me that good bulky fallback option, so I'm not relying on Azumarill and Garchomp to take hits, not necessarily because they lack reliable recovery. And Nucleus has that. It also gives me a good win condition. It gives me it's very versatile as well. It's the bottom line, which Azumarill is versatile, Garchomp is versatile, and Nucleus is definitely versatile. So I'm really starting to get the sense of I'm really liking the ability to mix up sets where I can run like a belly drum Azumarill combined with like a Assault Vest, Regenerator, Ranunculus to wear down bulkier threats to Azumarill, and then have like a Scarf Garchomp or like a offensive Stealth Rock Garchomp in the back. So now moving on to my next pick, I figured that I needed to like actually think of a defensive backbone for my team, as I do have bulky mons with Garchomp, Azumarill, and Ranunculus. At the same time, though, I didn't want to like rely on them solely, so I figured I needed a good check to water, a better check to water types. As Azumarill does mine, it doesn't want to get burned. Garchomp doesn't want to get burned. Ruka doesn't mind a burn so much because of Magic God. But at the same time, I also wanted something that's bulky, something that can switch into hits, something that has good reliable recovery and good utility overall. So with my next pick, I decided to go along the lines of tier 3, and I picked up Amoonguss. So the idea behind Amoonguss is it's a great great water switch-in, it's a good water check, it's a good electric check to stuff like Raikou. It can eat up hidden power ices for days, extra sensories. Another Assault Vest user, great ability Regenerator, access to Spore, can Giga Drain, clear Sloth to set up sweepers, Foul Play for physical sweepers. But more along the lines of this gives me a good way to it's a good backbone to start off my bulky offense, and it may start to look like a little bit like semi-stall, but it's gonna get relatively more not bulky. It's gonna get relatively more balanced as we go along. As I wanted to be bulky offense, but at the same time I didn't want to lean solely towards semi-stall, because just having switch-ins for stuff doesn't matter if you can't really counteract these mons. Amoonguss doesn't have to be invested in special attack to actually do a lot of damage. As the utility by itself, I can run Toxic. I can do Spore, I can do Stun Spore to cripple faster threats. So it has the bulk to switch into certain mons. It has the utility in Spore and Stun Spore to cripple faster threats to my team. So I couldn't pass up. And the Toxic Spikes Absorber, so I couldn't pass that up either. So now moving on to round 5, I figured that I don't have any mons with that are weak to hazards, but hazards that can be an issue for my team as a whole, as the constant switching to things can wear me down, especially with Stealth Rock and Spikes are up. So I figured I'd go after a Rapid Spinner before all the good ones are taken. So in round 5, I decided to go after Donphan. So the idea behind Donphan is it gives me Now, electric immunity, it gives me another stealth rock user of knockoff. It gives me priority with ice shard. Um, I can run defensive, and I can run Garchomp offensively. Well, another electric immunity. Forgetting Garchomp's without. Anyway, it gives me, but more importantly, it gives me that utility as a rapid spinner to get rid of stealth rocks and spikes. Um, priority, knockoff, earthquake, good coverage moves with seed bomb, gunk shot for fairies. But it's just going to be most likely like an offensive tank, probably, or particularly defensive, or another assault vest or choice band. But it has a bunch of viable options I can run on Donphan here, and I feel like it's going to be a valuable asset to the team, especially considering how valuable spinners are in draft league format, or hazard moves in general. Rapid spinners are more commonly favored in the draft league format. So on to round 6. I had some Pokemon that had reliable recovery. I had Renuculus, I had Amoonguss, but I didn't really have any. I need a cleric to keep my other mons healthy, like Donphan, like Garchomp, that doesn't have reliable recovery. So I figured that with my round 6 pick, I'd go with a mon that pairs up very, very nicely with my team, especially with Amoonguss, and I decided to go after Alomomola from Tier 4. So the idea behind Alomomola is it's a bulky wish passer. Can scold, has access to toxic, can wish, can healing wish from one of my sweepers. But this is basically just going to be like my physical check to a lot of threats to my opponent's team, and it pairs up very, very nicely with Amoonguss. Gives me that double regenerator core, or potential triple regenerator core if you include Renuculus. Its electric and grass weaknesses are covered very nicely by Amoonguss, and Amoonguss' psychic resist is resisted by Renuculus. And they pair up very well. But for the most part, it's just going to be like my general physical switching, get up a wish, try to wish pass to one of my mons, and just try to cripple things with the toxic or cripple things with skull. It is for the most part. For the most part is setup fodder, but I feel as though my team can function around the fact it can get over the fact that it's passive at times. So I feel as though that Alomomola can still fit with my team despite its passiveness in some situations. So now we move on to my round 7 pick. If I recall correctly, we went after a mom that we went after something that wasn't to make up for my the passiveness that some of my team members have. Amoonguss can be set up fodder, Alomomola can be set up fodder. Some of my Pokemon can be forced out, or my opponents can like substitute or try to get a sweep going. So I decided that I needed something that can discourage the use of substitute users. So with my round 7 pick, I decided to go with X-Cloud here. X-Cloud, stab Boomburst with Scrappy. Nothing else you can really say about X-Cloud here, aka DJ Khaled. You just click Boomburst and then another one, and another one, and another one, and another one. You get the idea. But more importantly, X-Cloud does give me that wall breaker. I don't really have pivots, so to say, like users of U-turn and Volt Switch to guarantee that it can come in for free. But nevertheless, I feel as though X-Cloud can really do some damage, especially if I put like a choice specs on it or a choice scarf. And mostly I'm just going to be clicking Boom whenever I bring X-Cloud onto my team, but this is basically here as a strong, capable wall breaker that can just come in and scare out my opponent with a strong, scrappy Boom Burst. And now for round 8, I decided to go after my Mega. I kind of put it off for the longest time, and I figured that I wanted to go. I wanted to continue the whole bulky offensive route. I wanted to go after a Mega in which I have absolutely no experience with, but I have seen it use it in previous draft leagues very, very well, and it complements my team to an extent where I couldn't pass up what it brings to my team as a whole. So with my Mega selection, I decided to go after Mega Sableye. Sableye with the Prankster ability pre-Mega Evolution and getting um, Magic Bounce during the Mega, solid utility mon. Um, Basically, Calm Mind Sweeper, a utility with Will-O-Wisp, another mon with Recovery, a good solid defensive typing with only being weak to fairy attacks, which I have resist for and Amoonguss, which makes another solid defensive core. Um, I wanted I wanted something that can discourage Hazard Stack, so I'm not so reliant on Donphan. At the same time, I wanted another bulky win condition, as Calm Mind can put in a lot of work. I also get another knock-off user. It gets priority with Shadow Sneak, can fake out to ensure the Mega. Um, but for the most part, Mega Sableye can act as a bulky spin blocker and a bulky utility one. Um, I have I wanted to try Mega Sableye for the longest time, but I never really fit my team structure in previous draft formats. And I think in this format, it gives me a good excuse to like try something new, get a good feel for Mega Sableye, and just take in all the benefits that come with Mega Sableye at the expense of some of the negatives, like it's terrible, low speed. Fairy types are very common, but I do have a good fairy resistant Amoonguss to lean on, so it's not bad. I think it's going to be a very valuable asset for my team, so I think it will go really, really, really well with how my bulky offense team is now coming together. And to keep on the route of bulky offense, I decided to go after a hard-hitting wall breaker, something that can benefit from the defensive core, something that can another hard-hitting mon that benefits that makes my team not so passive at times. So I with my round 9 pick, I decided to go after the Heracross. Heracross, um, very strong attacker. Um, can you go with Sword Stance, with Guts, a Moxie Choice stuff set? Um, I've used bulky Assault Vest Heracross in the past to a good extent. It did do some work. Guts Assault Vest was a very very good mon. It's no Conkeldurr, but still it is very very hard hitting. Stab Megahorn, stab close combat, knock off, Stone Edge. You just can't go wrong with the power and the capabilities that Heracross brings to the table, and it gives me another fallback option on whether I can run Guts or Moxie depending on the situation, and it is yeah I can get basically Guts or Moxie here. Can't really make use of Swarm, but Swarm Megahorn does sound nice, but Guts and Moxie is really preferred. I still think that Heracross has a great mon. Another Pokemon to put a Choice Scarf on. My team is a bit slow, so it can I can use that as a solid revenge killer, get a Moxie Sweep going, and basically all I have to say about Heracross. Anyway, with the last 2 picks, I figured that I can go for another Stealth Rock user. So that way I'm not so reliant on Garchomp and Donphan as they're my only hazard centers. So I also wanted to complete my Fairy Dragon Steel Core. So with the rest of my free points I went to tier 4 and I decided to pick up the Registeel. Registeel, Stealth Rock, can another status booster with Thunder Wave. It benefits from Wish support from Alomola, making another solid defensive core. Has that fire and ground weakness, but my is Alomola covers the fire weakness, and my ground weakness is somewhat covered by my other mons. But Richard still gives me another Stealth Rock user. It is a bit passive, like some of my other mons, but I couldn't pass up the utility that Richard still brings to the table, and it also benefits my Wall Breakers, my Garchomp, Azumarill, because as you see, my fastest mon so far on my team is the Garchomp, so I have to rely on switching in certain stuff and then trying to manage the situation from there. But nevertheless, Registeel is still a very good utility mon. Probably I have too much utility on this team already, but I couldn't pass up what the typing, the immunities, the hazard setting, all that sort of stuff that comes with Registeel. And with my final pick for tier 5, I decided to go after something that gives me another electric immunity. It's another good wall breaker for tier 5, and a solid mixed attacker too. So with my last pick, I decided to go after Electivire. It does give me a bunch of mons. It gives me another Pokemon weak to ground, and I don't really have a ground immunity on my team. I just have like a resist. My ground resistance is Heracross, but at the same time, my mons are bulky enough to take earthquakes, so it's not that big of a deal. Nevertheless, Electivire does give me a mon with access to Volt Switch. I can run physical Electivire with Thunder Punch, special Electivire with Thunderbolt, Flamethrower, mixed Wall Breaker. It has a bunch of coverage options at its disposal. It benefits from the bulk my mons have on my team, and it's just another fast, hard-hitting wall breaker. It's frail on the physical side, but I can make up for the lack of physical bulk or Electivire with my other bulky team members, so it's not that big of an issue. For the most part, though, my team does look a little bit out of place in the sense of I don't have much cohesion instead of from the defensive side. I don't have a bulk turn core going. I don't have some of my mons are passive where I can be set up fodder and it will cripple the rest of my team. But I think I can work around the flaws of those mons and then try to get something going with my wall breakers. And I think it's going to be a very interesting season 1 of the UBA for sure. I think that regardless of how my team structure is, I think for the most part I can make it work. So stay tuned for week 1 of the UBA. The first week we go up against the Pittsburgh Poplios. So it's going to be a very interesting match to say the least. But hope you guys enjoyed the my draft analysis. If you did, feel free to leave a like. Feel free to hit that like button. Feel free, if you really enjoyed my content, then feel free to hit that big red subscribe button down below as well, because there's going to be coverage from this league. I have the APA, I have the IBL, and I have the NES coming up in the next couple of days, so stay tuned for that. But until next time, my name is Anthony, aka Tone114, and I'm going to catch you guys on the flip side. Later!